Hi, this is D.S. Yoxheimer, and this is another edition of the Spectre, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about, I guess, other YouTube personalities, which I don't really do. I'm not part of that community per se, meaning I don't really have like a huge following or anything like that. I've been doing this since about 2008, and that was just me uploading a couple of times. I did open mic doing stand-up comedy in my hometown, Williamsport, so I wasn't aware of a lot of these people, but as I, a couple years later, I did, after I'd been doing more, videos kind of like those videos, doing movie reviews and things like that, and talking about politics and whatever other current event type of topic shows. Now, and some of these people, of course, they're quite a bit younger than I am. I'm middle-aged. I'm 45 years old, and some of these people are, mid-30s to mid-20s and even younger, of course. So the ones I'm going to be talking about are some of the ones I was watching recently, because of a lot of the SJW, or what, social justice warrior, SJW culture on YouTube, basically, in social media. That's where it was born. Let's face it, I think it was definitely, germinated and cultivated on the college campuses, because I, went to college myself and went to broadcast school. It's kind of why I do this. And just trying to use my broadcast degree for something, so even if it's for free on YouTube. So anyway, and the first YouTuber I kind of got latched on to watching was, well, basically it was around the same time. It was the Angry Video Game Nerd, James Rolfe, and TJ Kirk, who is also known as the Amazing Atheist, and I still actually like them a lot. I have the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, and I have the Amazing Atheist book, The Douchebag Bible. So anyway, both fun read, and actually the Angry Video Game Nerd movie is pretty funny for a very low budget yet very well orchestrated low budget movie for someone who got his start making videos on YouTube reviewing old cheesy video games. So but what I recently was watching was Steven Crowder, who is a conservative, I think from Montreal, Canada, and he has a show here, or he has it, well, everywhere, but he I think he has dual citizenship and lives here. I didn't know too much else about him. I saw him a couple years ago. He was interviewing Tommy Loren. I can't fucking stand her. But he was having one of those, Laci Green, if you're not familiar with her, she's sort of a sex positive, I don't know what her title is, or whatever she is, or whatever she has a degree in, or what she considers herself, but she's a sex positive, sort of YouTube host, not just a YouTube host, but I think she was on a Dr. Phil show once, I think. She somehow stumbled on there. I think she's not that she's stupid or anything like that. I know she mentioned she was a Mormon growing up, so they have a lot of strange mores as far as like sex goes, let's face it, And so I've watched enough of her show to kind of get an idea of what she's about, and I don't dislike her or anything. Like, she seems like a very nice person. I don't get that pedantic when I talk about social issues, or maybe I do and I'm not aware of it, and sexuality and that kind of things, and then identity politics, which is I'm not a huge fan of, quite frankly. And so he's doing a long, and I think I watched the whole hour chat between her and Steven Crowder, and it was just gender identity, and the trans bathroom issue thing, I think, was brought up, and it's insane what this country has come to in terms of like, and not this whole country, but a lot of people watch this stuff and they think this is how the likelihood of you coming across a trans person anywhere isn't really that high. And this is just my opinion of it. And the likelihood of you going into a bathroom, and you're in the bathroom, like you go to a bathroom at a public place where there's lots of people, an airport, a Walmart, wherever it is, and And it can be a time when maybe there's nobody in the bathroom and there's less foot traffic and there isn't as many people around, and there might just be just a minuscule chance that some sexual predator dressed as a woman, who's a dude, you know, is going to try to go in the let's say for this example, into the woman's room and like attack a woman or something like that, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just that kind of shit, basically, is what they talked about, and it gets to the point where it's like, why are you even like this upset about it anyway? What is the big? I mean, who gives a shit if someone has a sex change operation? Because people have been having sex change operations, believe it or not. The first one was right after World War II, if you look it up. Because it was, I think, a former soldier had a sex change operation. This was an article I read a while ago. You might want to look it up again. I should have actually looked that up before I did this video. But I mean, I heard of people having sex change operations and people having, it was probably called gender dysmorphia at one point, whatever. This has been around a while, okay? And this is not our biggest problem we're facing, you know, in this country. I mean, the polar ice caps, excuse me, a portion of the polar ice cap the size of California is gone, okay? It's fucking up our weather. We've got bigger fucking problems than this gender identity bullshit, you know? Just let people be who the fuck they are and move on with it. And I'm not trying to accuse one group of being sort of like this, but from my vantage, it just seems to me these religious groups are always the ones to be the fucking monkey wrench to keep things from moving ahead. They just always are. When it comes to fucking science, comes to like women's rights, gay rights, and they always are. And it's like, you can still have your religion and believe what you want to believe. And hey, you know, if you don't want to bake a cake for a gay wedding, don't. Go to a more progressive bakery, I guess. I mean, I don't know. But I just think it's just, I guess, you know, one group feels like they're imposing on the other group, and that's the problem. It's always like, it's just because you live in the same society together. Well, you live in a free society, and there's going to be people that are different from you, and sometimes they might even make you feel uncomfortable, just because of what their persuasion is, whatever that might be. You know, we all run into it, but that's just the way it is. Deal with it. You know, I mean, it's not like there's people that are around me at any given time that are, you know, I mean, people make me uncomfortable for other reasons, but I just like, I don't really get this whole, like, everybody's so easily triggered, obviously, by everything. You know, I just try to, you know, live and let live, and, you know, live my life and know my own truth. I mean, that's all you can do as a person, quite frankly. All the stuff that's going on now is just basically people talking about a bunch of nothing. It's just little minutia. I'm not saying it's not important at all. I mean, I mean, people should not get fired for being gay or trans or any of that bullshit. It's fucking wrong. I believe that is wrong. I'm not saying that isn't important, but there's just other shit going on too, you know, that we should all be concerned about, that isn't, you know, really being discussed much, because I mean, they say it on the news, but it's like we just sort of know we're doomed, so we don't give a shit, you know. It's like if there was a meteor heading towards Earth, it goes, hey, we just, like, you know, in the morning at some point, you know, during Morning Joe or the Today Show, oh, the meteor's a little bit closer. You know, but we wouldn't be doing anything about it. We'd go back to talking about our own, you know, issues we're dealing with here on Earth and our own social issues. So I think that's kind of what, that's kind of what it is. You know, it's I think they've been talking about the problem of climate change for so long that it just sort of, you either believe in it or you don't. And the climate deniers have punched so many, or not really punched holes, but they've punched imaginary holes, like people like Glenn Beck and those sorts of individuals. Like, since Glenn Beck is a climate scientist, if you consider someone who used to be a DJ making a lot of money when he was in his early 20s doing a ton of cocaine before he became a Mormon, a climate scientist. But yeah, he is. So he wrote that An Inconvenient Book. And but anyway, moving right along. Oh yeah, she also I think basically also sort of discovered Tomi Lahren because she was on the Blaze before she voiced her views on The View about abortion. She just said she didn't want to pay for somebody else's abortion, and Glenn Beck didn't like that, so she was fired. And we all know what respect Mormons have for women. Just ask Cody Brown. He has like 4 of them, chained up in that cul-de-sac of his in Vegas. So, I fucking hate that guy. I just want to punch him in the fucking dick. I should attempt. I don't know if I did start writing a song about sister wives and Cody Brown, but I don't know if maybe for another time. I got to prepare for that. My pipes aren't quite what they were, and I haven't prepared. But anyway, watching that whole exchange between Crowder and I've watched like this other one. Her name is Blair White, I think, and she's a transgendered woman, and she voted for Trump, and she goes on about how she likes to. Of course, I'm sure there's some trans people that voted for Donald Trump. I mean, whatever. I don't. That's her sort of selling point. She voted for Trump for the same reason like Roseanne voted for Trump, to shake things up. But she didn't shake things up enough. She just decided to tweet something extremely racist after she successfully brought her show back to TV. I can't believe that. I don't even know. I heard it was still on. I don't know if the Connors is still on. I think that's absolutely fucking shitty that they even keep that show on. I mean, anyway, in any case, not like I was ever that fucking crazy about that show anyway. I never liked Roseanne that much, quite frankly. I just didn't. Sorry. I mean, I don't like a lot of sitcoms. I mean, I know the show was significant and it broke a lot of ground. And I'm just going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but no, wasn't a big fan of Roseanne. Sorry. I came of age when that show was on the air, and I found her to be shrill and annoying and not funny, and fuck her. I don't care. She should have just stayed in Hawaii. I mean, she's out there smoking weed and popping pills and stuff and shit. Just chill out there. Why did she even need to come back and make a fucking show? Or bring that relic back. So anyway, yeah, I'm not too, but talking about the other YouTubers that I did like, the Angry Video Game Nerd was cool. I like The Amazing Atheist. Channel Awesome, which I was just watching a little bit of a documentary about that on YouTube, because there's this fall of Channel Awesome because a couple of people got burned by that video aggregator, which is basically what it is. And it was, Doug Walker is the nostalgia critic. He does that, I remember it so you don't have to. And he mostly did those. The earlier ones, I don't know. I still like it. I watched some of his stuff. It's funny. His earlier, there's always like a few of the ones I think are really funny that, that stick out for me. But a lot of people, like other ones, YouTubers that I liked, movie reviewers, were like Alison Pregler. She did movie nights. She supposedly had issues with it. It was more had to do with the CEO. But at the same time, they basically got that site gave them exposure and launched their I guess YouTube careers. So I really, I do think a lot of people probably got burned because like some people's intellectual property was stolen from them essentially. And by that I mean the one he's a British one, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And I heard this one before just from him, because there were a lot of them went on and did their own little personal videos talking about what happened to them with Channel Awesome. And basically, they would, if they did a compilation DVD and they went to maybe a VidCon or they were selling them somewhere online, they didn't get any money for it. Like basically if they did a sketch and they, you know, put money in that, you know, basically you put money in that sketch, you have maybe another actor, you have to travel to some place, maybe whatever you got to do, whatever cost you put into it, but it's still yours. It doesn't matter how much it costs so much, it's still yours, and you have, and if someone takes that from you and makes money off of it, then, but then again, what did they sign though? What kind of, I mean, not like they signed contracts with my channel, or, with Channel Awesome. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. There was a couple others. The Cinema Snob, who I like a lot, that was one of my favorite ones. I still watch him. He's still on there. So it's not like it's really tanked. They act like the whole thing blew up. They lost a significant amount of subscribers, I think, because of the bad publicity. But I don't think it really, you know, affected, you know, things too much there. I don't really know. I don't know why I'm fucking even talking about this, because it's way, you know, outside of my realm. But I don't really. These people got involved with YouTube in a way that I wasn't aware of. I didn't know anything about monetization. I didn't know anything about a lot of the stuff that I learned up until the last few years when I was making my videos. You know, I mean, I didn't even know my fiance was going to break up with me the next day. So if you're wondering why, like, this is another thing, if you're just wondering why I didn't have the Spectre opening, you know, with the plasma globe like I used to have, it's because, well, I did rediscover the original raw footage, but the titles aren't there on an SD card. But that was because I was making those videos on the computer that we had together, kind of. Well, it was her computer. She did buy it. She sort of surprised us with it because she made more money than me, and, you know, I was, you know, all that long story. But anyway, interesting story. I came home from doing my community service for calling a chief quality control officer that fired her at another hospital a cunt, and on Facebook, a post I took down within hours, and I'm not proud of it. You'd have to know the whole story to know the context of it. Anywho, they screwed up. I got really egregiously adjudicated for something stupid, but I had to do some community service. So when I got back from doing that, that's when I learned that I had been broken up with after a decade, after everything we'd been through together, after everything I'd been through with her health issues and everything like that, which I'm not going to go into here, and dealing with her absolutely repugnant family, who they are, I don't care, fuck them, I'll say whatever I want to about them. But so that sort of happened. So that's why my videos, this is my home, this is actually where I did my first videos work, here. So I just basically packed up and came back home, and that's that. You know, I quit my job at Bloomsburg University as a custodian in the Scranton Commons, which was depressing as fuck, and I just came in that final Saturday, and that was it. And anyway, that's what happened with that, and so the look of my show changed. Not that there was a show, but the look, that's basically why I've been kind of doing it like this. I've been trying to figure out the new computer and get, it's a different editing system and stuff like that. You know, it took me a while to learn the editing system on the old computer. It's like, once I finally learned it, it was like, boom, 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 you know, and then, but anyway, that's sort of what you do, like some of the, when you're developing a channel and all that stuff, that's the kind of thing that you, the part of the trials and tribulations of that, and then but the people who really have sort of made a name for themselves and stuff, they sort of like, they don't, I don't really, I mean, yeah, I mean, they don't really seem to know a whole fuck of a lot as to what they're talking about, or they're just talking about things and they're using, I mean, it's more or less like Steven Crowder sort of goes undercover and does his thing, like he acts like, he even poses a gay couple at one point. he's trying to like debunk misconceptions that he feels social justice warriors have about certain things, and so he goes to campuses and gets people riled up, like Ben Shapiro does and Milo Yiannopoulos. And if you're not familiar, Milo's the guy. He's the British dude. He's gay, and he's a real asshole though. Not because he's gay. He's just a fucking piece of shit. But he basically goes there and likes to poke the bear because it's easy to rile up college students who are just being introduced to new ideas and trying to figure out who they are and how they feel about things. And so if they get a speaker come in like Milo, who is just there to stir shit up, not in a good way either, just to basically, you know, piss them off. One of the examples of what he does is they were talking about, you know, African Americans being shot by police, and he would you know, shoot back, and I'm just going to do this as a British accent. This is how he speaks. He goes, well, there's more black on black crime, statistically speaking, you know, and then the person, ah! So they get, all the students get pissed off and shit, and I don't know if it was when he was at a university, but I think it was Ben Shapiro. There was some rioting at one of the universities he was speaking at, and he calls transgender people those with a mental illness, and you know, it's and I think it was just, and his site is he runs a Newswire. He founded that. I really haven't watched a whole lot of it. I've only seen him on Joe Rogan. I've watched a little bit of him on TV, but I can't stand watching him and hearing him talk. You know, he just sort of talks like this and goes, well, you know, facts don't care about your feelings, you know. And that's basically Ben Shapiro in a nutshell. I mean, he's facts, but he's wearing a yarmulke, and which is basically, you know, he's Hebrew and Jewish mysticism. It's not really fact, that's myth. There's a difference, so just pointing that out. But anyway, those are some of my feelings on some of the YouTubers who are, I guess, somewhat influential. Laci Green's at least entertaining. She's kind of, she contradicts herself sort of in one video when she talks about something in another video, you know what I mean? She'll talk about, I think she's about, I don't know how old she is. She's about 30. She's around 30. She went back to school and took a break or whatever, but not that matters, but I was just trying to, you know, give you an idea of like where she's coming from and where her, I guess, educational background's in. I believe it's psychology it would have, you know, or something, or maybe sex studies, I don't know. But she talks about S&M, and then she talks about like another video about how basically in so many words that's harmful. You know what I mean, about when you're talking about consent and what that is and everything else, that when you're talking about bondage, and then you're talking about another video when you're talking about, you know, when is consent, you know, and stuff like that. It's sort of this, it gets into this murky area, I think. But that's just like one of the examples of where I found her to be a little paradoxical in her commentary, or what she's talking about. So, and I'm sure, I mean, plenty of times I do. I mean, I'm very, you know, I'm far from perfect in doing this shit. You know, getting like, you know, I've got like I got two videos that have views into the thousands, and one of them is about tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills, and the other one is about how my hometown sucks. So, you know, that's usually what people want to see. I wish people would watch some of the other videos that I do that are actually at least better than that one. But with that said, this has been The Spectre. I'm DS Yoxheimer, and